All right, let's talk a little bit more about how you can actually contribute to other repositories. So in that last example, that was a repository I had under my user account, and we collaborated, but you didn't actually push any changes or any commits directly to that account. There's a couple different things we need to talk about here. The first is a user account versus an organization account. As you're looking for a repository to contribute to, a lot of open source projects are actually under organization accounts. And why would you want to do that, right? You have to figure out, while you're creating an account or a project, what does it need to be under? So some of the questions that you should ask yourself really revolve around, is it going to be, what do I want the permission structure to look like? How do I want people to contribute? Do I want to add them as a collaborator, specifically every person? Or do I want them to fork the repository and then, push up their pull requests that way? And also you can have more permission requests. So maybe I want someone to have an admin access, and maybe someone I just want to have read access or write access. That's possible with organization accounts. So let's go and look a little bit about how we can add a collaborator. So the repository that we're going to work with is still just under a user account, and I don't want you to have to fork every single time. I want you to be able to push your changes directly up to this remote repository that's under my user account.
All right.
The way we're going to do that is go over to this Settings tab. No one else will see this because I'm the owner of this repository. Under Settings, we go over here and click Collaborators. And here it's going to make sure that you are who you say you are.
That seems like a good idea.
It's telling me there's no collaborators yet. We can search by username, email. I know your username, I'll just do that. Once I add you as a collaborator here, it's not just going to add you without your permission. You should get an email that asks if you'd like to become a collaborator, and you also can go directly to the UI, to github.com, and find the repo and accept that way.
All right. So normally I would follow the email. Probably I would get that if it was a surprise for me, like, oh great, you're creating some work for me. I guess I'm going to need to collaborate on this project. But in this case, I'm just going to go to the repo and I'm going to add invitations. And when I add that, that takes me to this ability to accept the invitation. So bam, I agree.
Awesome, fantastic. So before, I was the only one making any changes or commits, and we won't go through the whole process now, but later on, as we are branching in maybe some other formats other than github.com, you're going to have access. You can push up to the repository.
Wonderful.